The San Diego Pride Parade and Festival is on July 19th and 20th this year, and while it's a yearly tradition, this year in particular has been shrouded in challenges around safety, visibility, and inclusivity, both in our current political climate and from within the Pride organization directly. CBS8 met with the interim executive director of Pride, Kristin Flickinger, outside of Pride headquarters in North Park for a candid, unedited conversation. It ranged from the vital services that the organization provides year-round to safety concerns to controversy around the selection of headliners. No topic was off limits. Here's that interview with Kristin Flickinger in its entirety. Pride is just a few weeks away. What, 3 weeks now?
I know.
First off, while all of us are excited for Saturday, Sunday and what that's going to look like and the whole week of festivities, I want you to kind of take us back to the last year or so and remind people at home the services that Pride provides year-round and what people should be looking forward to.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing up the fact that we have Pride's 365, right? We have Pride all the time. And the festival and the parade are really exciting. The festival, actually, the purpose of the festival, aside from bringing people together in joy, is to fund a lot of the programs that we do during the year.
Right.
And festival ticket sales, they actually help to support everything from advocacy efforts to programs in the community. Pride has donated over $3 million to local community organizations that support our LGBTQIA+ communities.
It feels like I ask this every year whenever we do stuff leading up to Pride, but why is Pride important in 2025?
Why?
I think that it feels like every year we talk about it, and it feels like every year in the last several, it becomes more important to answer that question.
Right, everyone's saying like now more than ever, more than ever. I mean, the reality is it's as important as it's always been. But right now, while our LGBTQIA+ communities are facing a lot of, anti-LGBT sentiment at the national level, it's really important for us to be able to get together in joy and community and to feel safe, really expressing ourselves authentically.
If you're a gay kid in San Diego, things are probably a lot different for you in San Diego compared to other parts of the country, but there are still, and I know it's hard for people to believe at home, there are still people in San Diego that don't believe that gay people should be able to exist and live freely and live openly. What are the services that you guys provide to LGBT youth in San Diego and to young people too?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really important point because folks think that we live in these bubbles and we're in these protected spheres, but the reality is that as we're seeing hundreds of pieces of legislation across the country that are anti-LGBT, especially anti-LGBTQ+ trans youth specifically, it has an impact on trans youth everywhere. The mental health impacts on our trans youth are really large, even if they're looking at attacks on queer and trans youth elsewhere. So it's important for us to have programs and services and partner with other organizations that are really expert at this to make sure that our trans youth and all parts of our community are receiving the services and programs that they really need.
The weekend's going to be a weekend with what's usually 250,000+ people coming down from LA, Palm Springs, all, I love that San Diego gets their Pride in July, and that every other Pride that's happened, people get to say, all right, we did our Pride, but now let's head down to San Diego for the big one, It's going to be one of the busiest weekends that San Diego sees, as it is every year. What goes into this whole production? I mean, it is large. It's the busiest weekend for your guys' team.
It is. I mean, it's the busiest, 6-month period for the team, let's be clear. And the team is really incredible. I have to say, as an interim who's pretty new here, one of the things that I've been most delighted by is the exceptional nature of this team. Folks are really talented at what they do. They're incredibly committed to the community. They are part of the community. And they have been working for at least a year planning this. We start planning for the next year even before this one's over. So yeah, a lot goes into this, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and volunteers. We have hundreds and hundreds of volunteers that serve, and don't just serve in day of capacities, that's really important, but serve year-round to help produce this really incredible event.
I want to kind of separate it into two and talk about the parade versus the festival. Two very different events, but kind of tie into the same message,
connected.
Right?
Yeah.
Tell us about the difference between the Pride Parade that's going to be happening and the Pride Festival.
Yeah, so the parade, as you mentioned, is something where 250,000 people show up. They either participate, whether they're marching in a contingent or on a float or on the sidelines watching. It's pretty remarkable thing.
It's amazing.
It's a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And that's a free event, so
it's
anybody
electric.
can come. Yeah, right. It's joy. It's joy
it really
in the
is.
air.
It's amazing.
Yes. So that's a free event that anyone can come to, and it takes place on the Saturday. And then the festival is a private. It's a ticketed music festival. It's 2 days. We've got 4 stages, dozens of performers, everything from Grammy award-winning performers to incredible local talent that's spotlighted. We've got a lot of things for a lot of people.
As far as the festival goes, there's been controversy surrounding certain topics related to it. Want to start off with the topic of Kaani as a headliner. That's been a big talk in terms of Kaani's political views and whether or not Pride should have supported their stance on the Israel-Palestine debate. Could you tell people at home, knowing what you know now, would you still have picked Kaani as a headliner? I know you, coming in, have had to kind of deal with this as an issue since you're starting in San Diego, but tell viewers at home just how San Diego Pride feels about that controversy of Kaani.
Sure. So, I think it's important to know that we selected Kaani as an award-winning, Grammy-nominated queer artist. And that's what we're doing, right? We're bringing people into a space that celebrates and centers queer identity, queer voices, and queer joy. And Kaani's selection was part of trying to create that. It's also important to note that we know that artists, Kaani's one of many artists and one of our headliners, often have views that are personal and political in nature that not everyone in the community aligns with. That can happen. And San Diego Pride does not endorse the personal or political views of any individual performer. What we do see is the importance of free speech, especially at this moment when dissenting voices, often queer and voices of color, are being silenced by our federal government. And we recognize the importance of artists in challenging systems, in creating culture, and in amplifying those voices.
Several organizations have chosen not to be a part of the festival. Some have chosen to stay in the parade. They understand its significance. I think UC San Diego is one of those groups that chose to stay as part of the parade versus the festival. In terms of groups pulling their support from the festival, do you understand it? Does it make sense to the organization why it's happening and why there's this controversy?
Yeah, I think, I know that a lot of things are happening all at once. Before issues around our headliner emerged, we were talking with different sponsors who were needing to pull back either their visibility or their actual support because of DEI concerns, because of attacks from the federal government. So that is a complexity that's happening. Additionally, there are some folks who don't feel safe marching, being visible, even in the parade, because of what's happening around trans folks in our military, around just safety concerns in general. So the answer to do we understand? Yeah, we understand how complex and nuanced this moment is, and absolutely respect anybody's decision or need to participate or not participate in a different way. In fact, if people need to participate this year in protest, we completely understand that too. We're Pride. That's how we started.
Right. In terms of the administration that we're under, there's also been a lot of concern, especially in San Diego in the last couple months, of people of color, immigrants, their safety. What is Pride doing to ensure that everyone who comes out to the parade and the festival feels like they are safe there?
Yeah, and not just feels like they're safe, but they're actually safe, right? That's the thing about Pride, is it's the one time a year for some of us where we get to show up and be safe as we experience our full authenticity. So we've done a lot, and we're doing a lot, and it's happening and increasing every day in terms of our safety and security protocols. So we've done everything from increasing our security footprint, the number of folks we'll have in security, stations at the parade. We have updated our entrance policies to include a clear bag policy for this year. So that's new. Folks will have to enter with only clear bags. You can read more about all of that on our website. We have a safety page now where folks can get more details. We've increased our code of conduct language to be really clear about the type of language and attire and conduct that is okay and isn't okay as we work to preserve that really sacred space that centers and celebrates queer identities.
I want to address the issues that have been brought up in terms of the Pride organization over the last 6 months to a year. Okay. We have a letter from the board of directors. I'm sure you've seen it, and I should specify previous board of director members, previous staff with Pride. Yeah. The issues that they've brought up, I mean, they call it a profound crisis in leadership, in direction, in community trust, a lack of transparency, repeated failures in accountability. When you read the letter, did you feel like this was the first time you were hearing these things, or is this something that's been brought up within the board of directors for the last year? Yeah,
so I mean, the good news is that I was brought here to work on things around transition and cultural alignment. So the board, I know, has been aware of some of the concerns and was taking steps to address this even before the letter came out. We do appreciate the feedback in the letter. We appreciate feedback from our community. Generally, it's important we're a community-based organization to have open lines of communication and to hear when people have concerns. At the moment, we are really focused on producing a safe and successful Pride event, which is, as you said, 3 weeks away. Right. So there are efforts in place. There will be opportunities for more community input. And that's a real thing. That's going to be happening as soon as we get through Pride.
There's also been concern over just the position that you're in, the executive director. I know you're interim right now, but people are saying that they want whatever happens after Pride to be all voices heard in selecting the next interim or the next executive director. What can you tell us about how that process is going to look?
Yeah. That's what San Diego Pride wants as well. That's what San Diego Pride has done in the past. In fact, some of the folks on the letter were part of the last selection, not of me as an interim, but of the permanent executive. So we know how to do this. We've done it before, and I think we'll do it in an even more inclusive way as we work to find the next executive director.
With the things that people are asking for, with the questions posed in terms of with the questions that people pose. I mean, some people are of the position of it didn't align with everything that I was going for Pride. Others are pushing it all the way to there's a lack of inclusivity. There is a lack of feeling seen and heard. Yep. Have you noticed that? Can you confirm that has been the case at times in the Pride's board of directors, and what will be done to ensure that voices are being heard, that there is more inclusivity?
Yeah, what I can say is that I'm new here still, so what I've seen I can comment on, but I think more broadly I can comment on this is not uncommon in our community-based organizations. We are all people who have been at times marginalized, unheard, unseen, and that's real. That's real, whether it's from our organizations or it's just in community generally. And at this moment, I think we're all feeling it even more acutely. We see it. Yeah. We understand it. And yes, so there are a number of things that will be happening. We have a strategic planning firm in place that has already begun the process of including the community. We have a group of folks that are actually from the community that are working on plans for the additional community engagement to make sure it's as broad as possible. So that's happening and will continue beyond. We also have the executive director search that will include the community. There are absolutely ways that people are being involved and will continue to be involved in all these processes.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, and I don't want it to look like a crisis per se. But I guess the question that I have is when you came on board, were you aware of what you were walking into? Did it feel like you were coming in as, for lack of a better term, damage control?
You know, when I came in, it was before the issues around our headliner emerged. I came in because we were in a moment of transition, and San Diego Pride has gone through a lot of transition over the last few years, and the board was very upfront about that. I was aware of it, and here we are. There are issues around, you know, transition and a need for cultural alignment, which is something I was aware of. When you take an interim role, there are always things that show up that nobody was aware of, and I expected that too. Coming in.
Going back to what's going to happen for the parade, CBSA is going to be streaming the whole thing in its entirety. We've done it for many, many years,
and we love that.
We love it. Honestly, it's one of the biggest events for our team at CBSA, and we know that people around the country watch that live stream every year. Tell us a bit of just what goes into that stretch. I mean, you're shutting down a hefty portion of San Diego for this parade, for these hundreds of thousands of people. You're 3 weeks away. What's this last stretch looking like for you?
I mean, shutting down a big stretch of San Diego, that's under construction, by the way.
Exactly.
Like, also under construction. New and improved route, right? We can only be on half of University. Like, it's a real thing. And the team has been working months before I got here to be in concert with Sandag, with the city, with everybody who's involved to ensure that it's safe, that it's still fun, that there's room for everybody. So this last stretch is an incredible lift to make sure that everything is in place to keep everybody safe so that we can just show up and have all the fun.
For people who want to come out, everyone's welcome to the parade, correct?
Yes, indeed.
Free event too.
Free event.
For the festival, tickets online, what do they need to know?
Tickets online, you can go to our website, sdpride.org, and you can buy tickets. They start at $39 for a one-day pass. There are, I think, $64 two-day passes, all the way up to $232 VIP passes if you want the VIP.
The VIP and then the VIP above the all the tiers,
yes,
right?
Yes, yes.
We appreciate you joining us. We know that this is that you're one of the busiest people right now leading up to this event, and all the volunteers and staff that make this possible. So thank you for being with us.